Our top story tonight, complete and total devastation from Hurricane Helene across Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia. Entire towns literally wiped out by floodwaters as the death toll continues to rise, with hundreds still missing tonight, and with roads and bridges wiped out, thousands still stranded, many without power, internet, even the ability to communicate, many without clean tap water. This is, by every measure, a national emergency. And today, Donald Trump, he flew to Valdosta, Georgia, to witness the devastation up front and personal and firsthand, and meet with disaster relief specialists from Franklin Graham himself and Samaritan's Purse. Let's take a look.
Many thousands are without power. They're running low on food and fuel. We brought a lot of it down with us. It's going to be distributed now or soon throughout Georgia, as well as North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and Tennessee. Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it. And to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit, we're going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now. We're trying to. I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever. And Elon will always come through. We know that.
Now, noticeably missing on the ground, the current president, Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala, well, she spent the weekend on the West Coast where she attended a very glitzy fundraiser in Los Angeles with her Hollywood friends. What have I been saying? The Democratic Party today is now a party of coastal elites. Hollywood, New York, D.C. Republicans are now the party of the hardworking men and women, the people that really make this country great. And, of course, Kamala did, however, she did find the time to post a stage picture on X, at least pretending to care about the people in the Southeast. Joe Biden, he spent all weekend at the beach in Delaware, claiming to be on his phone, but we know he was relaxing. They said that Joe was on his phone a lot, managing the disaster recovery from afar. Well, that's, hands-on and compassionate. Take a look.
On the hurricane, Mr. President, why weren't you and Vice President Harris here in Washington commanding this weekend?
I was commanding. I was on the phone for at least 2 hours yesterday and the day before as well. I command. It's called a telephone. And all my security people.
Is it not important for the country to see?
All right, time for a Hannity history lesson. Let's go back to 2005. George W. Bush, you might recall, he was vilified. He was demonized. He was called a racist. Why? For flying over the devastation. He didn't want to get in the way of recovery efforts 2 days after Hurricane Katrina and looking down from Air Force One. 2 days. Now, it's been nearly 5 days since what happened last week. 2 days after that hurricane made landfall, you might recall the hysteria and the name-calling and the blame that came his way. Take a look.
I believe that we can charge the government with criminal neglect of the people of New Orleans, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Louisiana in particular.
And if there were ever any evidence needed as to why we need a hands-on president, all we have to do is think back to what happened along the Gulf Coast. That was a natural disaster that was turned into a national disgrace. The incompetence, the indifference, the insensitivity.
I think the administration got embarrassed with the response that Hurricane Katrina. They were embarrassed.
And unacceptable here, sadly, leads to people dying and people being harmed. Hopefully the president, as we speak, is somewhere in Mississippi, I guess, right now. And the fact is that hopefully he will, as I've said many times, synchronize his conduct with his conscience.
We're now more than twice that time, 4+ days after Helene touched down in Florida. And neither Biden nor Harris have bothered to even fly over the wreckage. Biden literally couldn't even come back from the beach at his beach house and his beach chair early. Harris, she was too busy living it up with her big money donors, the George Clooney types, jackass that he is, in Hollywood. Well, where's the same outrage from the media mob? And then to make matters worse, we're now just a few hours away from a devastating strike from, the East Coast and Gulf Coast dock workers, longshoremen. This could literally cripple all logistics in the entire country and every single supply chain in America at a time when so many on the East Coast in particular are trying to rebuild and recover from the devastation of this hurricane. Think about this. Last week, both Biden and Harris were so quick to step in front of a microphone and proudly announce $8 billion in new funding for Ukraine. All told, military, humanitarian aid, they've already given $175 billion of your dollars to Ukraine. Now, where are the billions and billions for North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, and any other state that needs help? Why are there no grand gestures for our fellow Americans in need? And as per usual, both Biden and Harris are now being shamed into action. Biden will finally make a trip to the Southeast in coming days. Why? Because Donald Trump did it? But no trip for Harris is planned as of now. I'm sure we will embarrass her into it, although we haven't been able to embarrass her into doing a press conference. So why does it always seem like the Biden-Harris administration is always behind the eight ball during every major crisis? Why is it they have zero empathy for Americans who are suffering, especially Democrats that claim to have a monopoly of compassion? And when real Americans are in need, where are they? $8 billion for Zelensky. What about the people in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida? How about helping them? We see this now with the hurricane and also with inflation that they said was transitory for 3+ years. And with the victims of illegal immigration, of course, the border's secure, the border's closed, the border's secure. They lied about that for 3 years. They lied about and are proud of the botched withdrawal in Afghanistan. But despite 4 years of nothing but feckless, failed leadership, the race is still too close to call. Over the weekend, we have a slight edge for Donald Trump in multiple polls. Now, Atlas Intel rated the top, along with Insider Advantage, Trafalgar, Rasmussen. Well, it does show Donald Trump with a lead in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Rasmussen has Trump up in North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. Trafalgar, with a new poll, has Donald Trump up with a 2-point lead in Pennsylvania. There are now more than 6 polls showing Donald Trump with a significant lead in Pennsylvania. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, it will be very hard for Harris to get to 270 electoral votes that would be needed to win. But North Carolina and Georgia, if you're in those states, it is critical for Donald Trump if he's going to win this election. So let's be very clear. You now have 36 days until Election Day. Early voting is now starting all over the country, and anything can happen. And this is an inflection point for the country. This is a tipping point election, and this race remains, for my comfort, too tight. The latest polling out of Virginia shows that the state is, to the surprise of many, very much in play. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.